So here's the main body of the presentation. Time and consciousness. Is consciousness in time or time in consciousness? One feels that consciousness is the starting point for our inquiry, and until we have a clearer view of consciousness, of course, it's difficult to say what time is. Anyhow, I've put in this picture, this is somebody who's just walked into a lamppost, had a sudden shock. This is exactly the kind of shock I had when I suddenly realized that all our life is momentary. There was a sudden shock of realizing that there is only this moment. Now, I thought it was like walking into a lamppost. The raw present is the lamppost hits you without preparation, without context, without expectations. So one bangs one head on the lamppost. Now, if the universe is momentary only, then what follows? What is time? As I've said already, time is an ancient puzzle. This was discussed by the pre-Socratics, and it turns out that the pre-Socratics had some useful things to say. Parmenides, as I've already mentioned, said that nothing changes. He didn't quite see how anything could change because there was no such thing as nothing for things to move into in changing. Heraclitus, another pre-Socratic, took what appears at first sight to be an opposing, contrary view. He's famous for saying you cannot step in the same river twice. And this is a view that others have suggested as well, that time is a flowing river and you can't go back in time or forward in time. And some other views or words derived from there. The world is a whole. It is what it is and cannot turn into something else. Change is illusory, as Parmenides said, of course. There is no substance or duration to things. Each moment is an entirely new existence, which is succeeded by another moment. There is no moment, no inkling, no particle of time that the river stops flowing. This was a Buddhist view, and followed up by the Dalai Lama more recently, who said there is no independent linear time as some kind of container. The time that we observe in nature has no separate existence. It is only a mode of being of concrete objects. We ourselves create mathematical time. It is a mental construct, an abstract, indispensable to the building up of science, but having no very clear relation to the time as we experience it. St. Augustine, of course, said that neither time past nor future, but the present only really exists. And of course, he was a distinguished philosopher and theologian. He discussed time at some length. He said, here's the Latin version of what he says, if no one asks me, I know what time is. If I want to explain it to him, I don't know what time is. And a fuller Latin version is set out here. I won't read the Latin, but a bit of what he says. For what is time? Who can easily and briefly explain it? Who even in thought can comprehend it, even to the pronouncing of a word concerning it? What in speaking do we refer to more familiarly and knowingly than time? And certainly we understand what we speak of it. We understand also when we hear it spoken of by another. But what is it? The momentariness of everything, of the universe, and so also of us, as St. Augustine and others have suggested, is not a new discovery or a forgotten discovery. It's still quite an important question in the philosophy of science and in philosophy more generally. Kant said that time and space are necessary forms under which sensation and perception are accommodated in our minds, in our brains. We can have no knowledge of the Dinge an sich, that is, the things as they are, the real substance of the world. He went on to say, time is not an empirical conception. It is a necessary representation lying at the foundation of all our intuitions. If we abstract our internal intuition and take objects as they are in themselves, then time is nothing. We deny to time all claim to absolute reality. Schopenhauer, who supported this aspect of Kant's work, though he was critical of much else of Kant, said that before Kant, one might say we were in time, but now time is in us. Kant, however, left totally unexplained how, if we see only through time and space as arbitrary forms of intuition, as the spectacles through which we look, how we in fact cope with reality. And this is something Anthony Quinton has put forward. But the answer seems to be that evolutionary epistemology explains that the natural selection of brain processes in the course of evolution has provided us with practical concepts of time and space which allow us to manage reality, and we obviously manage reality fairly well.